I appreciate, I respect you. As you said earlier, you are my friend. I count you as someone I can trust, I respect, I have, and I've learned that since I've been here. And I can tell you, I am trying to argue the merits, not a procedural process. And I know you say that makes you sick to your stomach, but I have stood here talking about the merits of this bill. I was asked a question about procedure, and in respect to another colleague, when they ask me a question, I am going to give an answer. May not be the answer they want, may not be the answer they're desiring, but I'm going to give an answer. But my discussions with Senator Uresti and Senator Lucio were on what I think Glenn Hager, as the author of House Bill 2, what he believes are the merits and not the procedure. And if that makes you sick, I'm sorry. But I'm going to stand here today as the author of this bill, and I'm going to defend it on what I believe is right, in my opinion, and the members are free to vote in any shape, form, or fashion as they so desire. I don't control any votes, and I don't think any group sending out a piece of paper should control any votes either. The members are free to decide as they so choose, and they should be.
Question. Senator Patrick, for what purpose you raise?
I'd like to ask a question of Senator Whitmire, if I may.
Senator Whitmire doesn't have the floor, but
Senator Hager, may I?
Sure, I yield.
Senator Whitmire, I did work with Senator Uresti on this amendment on the sonogram bill. And he's made a compelling case. I also believe that we and Senator Hager have made a compelling case on many other aspects of this bill that at this point you've indicated you would vote against. And I think that the case you make about these young girls, we can also make a case for the young babies' lives who were taken. And I could have the same, not outrage, but I appreciate your passion. I could have the same passion of why don't you care as much about those babies that are being aborted? So if we want to match passion, we could match passion. And here's my question. If we took this amendment,
You might want to ask me. I got the floor.
do you believe, if we took this amendment, would Senator Whitmire and Senator Davis and every Democrat on this floor commit to vote for this bill and send it out 31-0?
I can't answer that.
If we want to talk about passion and caring, then let's do it all the way. Let's get 31 votes. This has been a good debate on the floor today. And I respect what you're saying. I honestly do. We are also friends. And I have great respect for Senator Uresti, who worked with me for 6 months to pass the sonogram bill. But if we're going to start taking certain amendments and saying this is the amendment, if you don't vote for this amendment, then you don't care, I would make that case on the entire bill. So, Senator Hager, it would be my question. If we're going to take this amendment, then I would like to see 11 Democrats stand up. Senator Lucio is courageous and say they will vote for this bill, and we send it out of here 31-0.
Well, I'm just going to continue to try to debate each amendment just as though I have this bill and allow the members, the gallery, I believe everybody's watching, not only just here, presence in this Capitol, but all around. And I think that's what we should continue, is just continue the debate. Thank you, Senator.
Senator Campbell, for what purpose do you raise?
Ask a question of the author.
Will Senator Hager yield?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I'm not sure that you are aware, and as a physician I can tell you, the further a pregnancy goes, the more developed the baby is, the higher risk of complications to any pregnant woman. A child who is pregnant, and so I'm going to speak just to a child pregnancy, not to the cause, because I think we all can agree that there's probably nothing more catastrophic or horrific than a child that's been raped. But just to address some questions that some may be having, First of all, for a child that is pregnant, are you aware that are very few obstetricians, or no, abortionists, let me change that, abortionists who are competent to do an abortion on a child?
I have not heard that before, but I would believe it.
Okay. And number two, the risk in a small uterus, the child has increased bleeding, increased risk of complications, increased scarring, and that's really a delicate procedure. And what I'm saying is, while it seems like it's just a month, that is a month's worth of much more development in a child's uterus. And so it's not like a month in an adult, in a woman. So as catastrophic as the cause of it is, I'm just saying that it's not just a month like for a more mature woman or even a more adult, mature teenager. When we're talking young children, we're talking still a very young development. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. So while it's not an easy decision, just know that the longer a pregnancy goes, the higher risk to the young child it is. And thinking that all abortionists are equal is wrong.
Right.
Because it takes a very competent abortionist to deal with abortion in a child. So while it is very sensitive, I would say still vote not for this amendment. You are still supporting the health and safety of a child. You're not changing what happened to that child. I think we could all agree that rape and incest is awful, but we're still talking about protecting the health and safety of a child here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator, for that. I appreciate you adding that very much.
Senator Hager, you've got the floor, and then I've got to go back to Senator Uresti.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Mr. President. And members, I appreciate the discussion, every single one of you. And this is a very, very sensitive, emotional subject, area. Senator Uresti, rape and incest, I don't want to imagine it either. You said you couldn't fathom, I think was your words. I can't either. But I believe this amendment is very different in this bill than it is with the sonogram bill. I appreciate you bringing this. I appreciate your friendship. I just do not believe this is the amendment we need to accept on this bill from my vantage point.
Well, Senator Hager,
Membership is here to listen, and we have had a long debate on this. And so with that, I would ask we table, but that is the members and obviously their vote.
Members, Senator Hager moves to table floor amendment number 2. The chair recognizes Senator Uresti.
thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members, for your attention on this. You know, a few weeks ago, it was reported in the news about a man, a monster, I would say. His name was Ariel Castro. And he took 3 women hostage, some for 10 years. For 10 years, and he locked them up in his house, and he raped them repeatedly. Miss Berry, one of the ladies that was finally captured, thank God, actually delivered a child while in captivity for 10 years. Miss Knight was impregnated 5 times by this monster. And you know how he kept her from having those babies? He would punch her in the stomach. Repeatedly, he would punch her in the stomach until she lost those babies. So, members, let's think about this. Those ladies get captured, thank goodness. And one of them is 21 weeks pregnant. 22 weeks pregnant, 23 weeks pregnant. And we rescue her from this monster. She hasn't been able to go get an abortion because she's been a hostage. So what are we going to tell her? Sorry, you can't have that abortion because you missed the 20-week mark. This bill passes, that's what will happen. And sadly, as we stand here today, I will promise you, you heard the statistics, women are being raped every 2 minutes in this country. Some are hostage. They're prisoners. And maybe they're not prisoners in the basement of a house, but they're prisoners to that monster that is raping them, that is threatening them. You say a word, I will kill you. You say a word, I will kill your mother. You say a word, I will kill your little sister. And we know, every one of you knows that that happens. We don't like to talk about it, but we know it happens. These statistics don't lie. And remember, many of these children, they'll never report it. And I know we've been talking about children as victims, but of course there's women that are 30, that are 40, that are 50 years old that are being raped, and they're not going to talk about it for whatever reason. So, members, you know, this amendment, if it goes on, and I pray that it does, all that's going to happen is it's going to go over to the House, and they'll deal with it, and hopefully they'll accept it. And if they don't, then it comes back. It takes a couple of days. Today is July the 12th. We have time, members, for something so delicate, something so important, something so critical. And all I'm asking you to do is to keep the current law when it comes to that small percentage of women and children that are victims of rape and incest. It doesn't mean they have to get an abortion, Senator Patrick, and I hope they don't. But some of them are going to have to make that tough decision for whatever reason. And all I'm saying is let's give them 4 weeks. So members, I hope that you will oppose, vote no on the motion to table on what I think is probably one of the most critical votes we're going to take, not only during this special session number 2, but this session, this year, this whole 3 sessions that we've been here. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, members.
Thank you. Members, the issue is the motion to table by Senator Hager. The Secretary will call the roll.
Birdwell, Campbell, Corona, Davis, Dewell, Duncan, Ellis, Eltife, Estes, Frazier, Garcia, Hancock, Hager, Hinojosa, Huffman, Lucio, Nelson, Nichols, Patrick, Paxton, Rodriguez, Schwartner, Seliger, Taylor, Uresti, Vandepute, Watson, West, Whitmire, Zaffarini.
Members, there being 18 ayes and 12 nays, the motion to table is sustained. Chair lays out floor amendment number 3 by Senator Garcia. The Secretary will read the amendment.